Hello everyone and welcome. I'm excited to finally introduce my NES Disk Cartridge, or as I'm calling it, the Muramasa Disk System Cartridge. I think had Nintendo released an NES Disk System, they would have used the expansion port to do it. So I decided to make my own version that uses the expansion port, and here we are. Before we dive in though, I should mention that both of my new NES disc cartridges, as well as the original Famicom Disk System cartridge, are not compatible with PAL systems or most clone systems. With that out of the way, I'll show off the two versions of the cartridges as well as some related feature projects. First, we have the expansion version. This version is designed to be used with the expansion port on the NES front loader, specifically using the NES Expansion bridge. The NES Expansion bridge enables expansion audio and adds a Famicom expansion port. More importantly though, it connects your disk system. The NES Expansion bridge enables expansion audio using a 100K potentiometer, letting you control the volume level. There is also a switch here, which can disable the expansion audio from the expansion bridge in case you already have a mod installed. It has two test points so you can measure and set the value to control the volume of the expansion audio, which you can see here. So, I set my multimeter to read resistance at 200K. I touched the leads to the test points, and as you can see here, it's currently set to 54.4K. Usually, 47K is the value used for expansion audio. The adjustments can be a bit fiddly, but be patient and you'll get to where you want to be. Now I'm getting 48K, which I'm fine with. We also have the Famicom expansion port add-on, which allows the use of different Famicom controllers or accessories like the Famicom Basic, which we'll show off here in a second. With some coordination with RetroTime, we've used the same connector and pinout for controller accessories, so any add-ons you buy for the NES Hub will also be compatible with the NES Expansion bridge. We also have plans for a wireless module to work specifically with the NES Expansion bridge. But the reason I created the NES Expansion bridge is to pass the disk signals through. To accomplish this, you first have to remove the cover and put it somewhere. Then the part of the case blocking off the port has to be removed. I recommend flush cutters. And now our port is accessible. Now we can plug in the NES Expansion bridge. Disk cable comes out the back. The bottom won't be flush with the system, but it's not an issue. So now we're ready to show off the whole setup. Pop in our Muramasa Disk System Cartridge. Give it power. Then we pop our disc in. We wait patiently, or at least pretend to be patient. And there it is, our Famicom disc game running on an NES. You can also use it with a drive emulator such as the FDS stick or a FDS emu. And I'm sure the FDS key will work as well, I just don't have one. Now for the Family Basic. We have the Family Basic game loaded and it is waiting for the Family Basic keyboard to be plugged in. So let's plug it in. As soon as we do, the program comes to life. Eventually it'll ask for our name. We'll go ahead and type that in. And there it is, ready to do basic stuff. In a future video, I'd love to show off the Family Basic more, but for now, this will be fine. The cable version works the same as the expansion version, but has a cable instead of the expansion signals. having the disk cable attached to the top of the cartridge and is useful for systems that don't have the expansion port. It can, of course, still be used with the NES frontloader as long as it has the expansion audio mod and can play cartridges that aren't pushed down. So, we power it on and connect the disk drive, which has to be pulled forward a bit to reach. Next, we pop the disk in and wait. And there we go. The cable version can also be used with the NES top loader as long as the system has been expansion audio modded. And the cable reaches just fine. It can also be used in some aftermarket systems such as this Retro USB AVS or this Analog NT Mini Noir. Sometime in the future, we plan to offer the PCB, so if you can solder and desolder, you can build your own cartridge. We haven't figured out what would need to be included or what the pricing will be, but once we work out those details and create a tutorial, we'll make an announcement. This is an in-progress prototype that will allow the Muramasa Disk System expansion version of the cartridge to be used with the NES hub. Through one of the mini DisplayPort connectors on the hub, it will add a disk system cable to connect the disk drive. We don't have a timeline on this one either, so stay tuned. I hope this video helped explain the Muramasa Disk System cartridge and answered any questions you might have had. I also hope you enjoyed some of the sneak peeks of our related future projects. I'm also planning to make more YouTube videos in the future, so if you liked this video, do all the YouTube things like subscribing and sharing. Thanks for watching, and thanks for your support.